another episode of Storytime with Mikey, the next chapter. In today's episode, it's another talk about my grandmother. As if you've been following along with all these episodes from the previous series and this one, then you'll know all about her and how she is sadistic, evil, racist, and homophobic. This episode is more in tune with more of the abuse I suffered at her hand. A bus just went by. Thankfully, I don't know if you all could hear it because I've got things set up for sound reduction, but as you all know, for the past 11 years, I had a dog who died in March of this year. And as I said, I had him for 11 years. And for the first 2.5 years that I had him, I was still living with my grandmother. And he took a little while to get potty trained, as you know, dogs can struggle with that. It takes time to learn. And he went number 2 on the carpet of our apartment. And in her rage, and I assume due to the fact that the dog belonged to me, instead of telling me to come downstairs and clean it up, which I would have done because it is what you do as a responsible pet owner, she decides to go and grab the toilet paper, pick it up herself, walk into my bedroom, and smacked it right across my face. Dog shit. My face. And at the time, actually 18 years old, so at that point I'm an adult. It no longer qualifies as child abuse, but that's still abuse and assault. It's also fucking disgusting that I had to go through that from my own grandmother, because everyone thinks that the grandmother's going to be the person with the curly little hair, with the apron, and making cookies for all the children and knitting fluffy sweaters. No. I had Annie Wilkes from fucking Misery as my grandmother. And that's just something you don't forget. Something that disgusting. When someone who is your blood relative does that, especially the person you've been living with, who is acting as your guardian because you are still living not on your own, which is because of all of the abuse that I moved out earlier than I had planned to. Because you can only take so much before your brain just snaps in half, you know. And I just don't know what else to say. Honestly, that was the gist of it. My dog went to the bathroom downstairs on the carpet. She got pissed, and she thought it was justified in picking it up herself and taking it to my bedroom and smashing it in my face. And when we were living in this apartment, there were multiple times I had to call 911 because she was a lunatic. Unfortunately, the local justice system said, well, she's old and she might be sick. We don't want to do anything with her. Okay, so the dog shit being smashed in my face. I got to overlook that. The knife that she tried to stab me with, got to look over that. They're trying to choke me. Got to move on. We're going to ignore that. Literally ripping off my shirt. We're just going to brush that into the bucket. Trying to choke my dog. We're going to ignore that. I wasn't helped when I needed help. So that's why one day I had enough. I packed my shit and I moved. Though it wasn't a calm moving. No, she chased after us. She chased after the car that I was in, my mother's car, because she was the one driving me to my new apartment, my own apartment. And she chased after us for about a block, screaming, shouting, "I'm sorry. I'll be better." Manipulation is a powerful thing, and when people are manipulators, they will use their power to their utmost ability to keep you under their grasp. And finally, I had had enough. She wasn't going to control my life anymore. She wasn't going to hurt me anymore. And I have no respect for her because of her racist and homophobic views. On top of her being abusive, although to this day, and my people in the family will still tell me what she says, that she doesn't remember doing all this, and that the only thing she remembers is that we had arguments. Well, the argument part was me screaming at you for committing multiple accounts of assault and battery. Not counting the time she took my ADHD medication and flushed it down the fucking toilet. Although nowadays she doesn't understand what my condition. She doesn't know that I have autism and ADHD. She thinks I have Down syndrome, a completely different condition. And as I've said before, that she's the whole point behind my newest poetry book, Raised by Bruises, which talks about things I went through, how she made me feel about myself for the longest time, and emotional scars, physical scars that I still carry. Tragedy brings out the creativity in people. And I wish that I didn't have to rely so much on real life events for my writing. I wish I could write poetry that was more beautiful and poetry that was more about nature and the things that I, as a human, see in the world. But no, the only thing my brain can think of to use for creativity is the pain I've been put through, emotionally and physically. It's my most personal poetry book out of all the ones I've written so far. And it's the one that I actually cried while writing because I had to go through so many memories that I wish I could forget in order to write those. But that's why I'm also very hurt when people who don't know me personally, people that I've talked to online, but they don't know me personally, just think that I'm weird. It's called I've been put through a lot, so I can't exactly act normal because I haven't been put through a normal life. I had a whole entire fucked up family. For the longest time, my family tried to keep my father away from me because they didn't like him, even though he had done nothing wrong. My mother used to be a drug addict and alcoholic, and would gamble a lot of her money away and drank a lot of her money away and pop a lot of her money away with her addiction to medication. She overcame that, and we reconciled, thankfully. I still see my father, who's in horrible health these days. But then you had other people in the family that were very homophobic, and because my middle name is Michael and I go by Mikey, they often would call me Michelle. They didn't like that as a kid I would play with my sister's toys. I mean, I'm autistic and I was a kid. To me, a toy was a toy. I didn't differentiate between boys and toys and girls' toys. And now, even these days, some people don't understand the jewelry that I like to wear or anything, and they don't understand that I identify as asexual. That's the one thing me and my father don't have in common, is that he wants me to make him a grandfather, and I can't. I can't. And he makes me feel bad sometimes when he brings it up. But I try not to hold it against him because he doesn't understand what asexuality is. He think in his mind, I don't believe in sex, but no, it's just I just don't have an interest in it. I don't find it interesting. I don't want to have it because I'm repulsed by it. And I also will make the joke that why would you want to have physical activity in bed? A bed is for relaxation, to sleep, to nap, to relax, not to exert yourself physically. It doesn't. Can't comprehend. But I guess I've just been in one of those moods where I had to make an episode just to talk about things because today's been a rough, stressful day. I've been dealing with some stuff with my family, especially with my grandmother, who is targeting my mother as usual with lies and things that I think count as defamation. But so I just had to talk about it because even my therapist says that doing these videos is a good thing because it's good for making me feel better, getting all this stuff out. And I really do. I feel a lot better when I get these videos out for the series. And I'm hoping that you guys don't mind listening to me rant and rave and just talk at nauseum about things. But I will end this video here. Just ending it with family may be blood, but that does mean that you have to love them if they don't love you back.